Welcome back, everyone, to this explainer for the Foundry by Forge College. Now, in our previous session together, integration planning, risk mitigation, and readiness, we mapped out our integration points, right? We basically did all the heavy lifting to figure out exactly what our ecosystem looks like. But today, well, today it is time to actually get our hands dirty. We are officially transitioning from that high-level planning phase into laying out the actual concrete architectural blueprint for testing a Solana DApp. So let's get right into it. Okay. Let's kick things off by asking a pretty fundamental question. What actually happens when perfectly good code meets unpredictable external data? Think about it like building a luxury watch. Your individual tiny mechanical gears, they might work absolutely perfectly on their own while they're just sitting there on a nice, clean workbench. But the true test of that machine is throwing chaotic, real-world forces at it, Water, magnetism, sudden shocks. If your watch shatters the second it interacts with the outside world, it really doesn't matter how beautiful those internal gears are. So here is our blueprint for today's lab session. We're going to be covering 4 key areas. 1. Boundaries. 2. Determinism. 3. External simulation. And 4. Security. Starting off with Section 1, Boundaries. Defining your test scope. Look, before we build anything at all, we literally have to draw a boundary box around our code. We have to separate 2 totally different testing philosophies here. On one hand, you have unit tests. This is where you focus on internal instruction handlers, basically taking a magnifying glass to a single isolated gear. On the other hand, we have integration tests. These strictly evaluate cross-program invocations and shared on-chain state. So how do your gears mesh with gears you didn't even build? For today's session, our focus is entirely on that integration side. To actually get there, we follow a 5-step engineering workflow. Step 1, map your user journeys. Step 2, define those test boundaries we just talked about. Step 3, design isolation fixtures. Step 4, prioritize security. And Step 5, integrate the whole thing into your continuous integration or CI pipeline. You have to remember, you simply cannot exhaustively test every single interaction across the entire blockchain. It's impossible. So we have to be smart and selectively cover the highest risks using this specific workflow. Moving right along to Section 2, Determinism, building controlled environments. Now, if you want to keep your sanity as a Web3 developer, pay super close attention to this. Determinism basically means freezing time and controlling the universe using local test harnesses. You want your tests to produce the exact same results every single time you run them, period. Imagine you're testing a highly volatile mechanical engine. You're not going to test that outside in the middle of a hurricane, right? No, you'd put it inside a sterile vacuum just to eliminate any unpredictable variables. And that is exactly what determinism is. No random network latency, no unexpected Oracle updates, just a controlled, frozen universe. So how do we actually build this isolated vacuum on Solana? Well, here are the specific tools we use. First, we use Solana program-test to spin up a super-fast in-memory validator. Then, we inject pre-funded deterministic accounts. And this next one is crucial. We use controlled sysvars. As we constantly emphasize in the advanced development courses here at Forge College, if your app depends on time, you absolutely must explicitly set the sysvar clock in your tests. If you just rely on real-world wall time, your tests are going to randomly fail based on how fast your machine decides to run that day. And trust me, nobody wants to deal with that. Set up, execute, assert. This is your new mantra. It's a really catchy, logical cadence that should entirely structure how you think about building your reusable test fixtures. It goes like this. First, you set up that deterministic environment. Then, you execute the transaction. And finally, you assert that the resulting account state exactly matches what you expected, literally down to the byte. All right, Section 3, External Simulation, mocking the outside world. This is the point where we safely take fake external elements and drop them right into our isolated vacuum to see how our engine reacts. A real Oracle? Well, it's flaky. It's out there on the live network, it's updating constantly, returning unpredictable data. A mock Oracle, though, is a completely controlled, static, deterministic account that we just inject directly into our test harness using Solana program-test. Think of it kind of like this. Mocking an Oracle is essentially tricking your weather app into thinking it's 500 degrees outside just to see if your smart thermostat catches fire. We have to simulate those extreme external states, but do it safely. Just to firmly anchor where all of this fits into the broader testing ecosystem, let's look at this breakdown. At the unit layer, you're really just checking single instructions. At the integration layer, which is our sweet spot today, you're checking cross-program invocations and mocking those oracles. And then at the end-to-end layer, that's where you check the full stack, including the UI and RPC latency. For what we're doing, you want to keep your integration tests strictly in that middle lane. Which brings us to Section 4, Security, Testing for Failure. I've got to be honest with you, this is arguably the most fun part of the job. You get to intentionally try to break the machine. Let's look at some worst-case scenarios you absolutely need to test for. What happens with malformed CPI return values? Or what if a required signer flag is just mysteriously missing? What if program ownership gets suddenly revoked? Or what if the oracle spits out completely insane, out-of-range data? You have to prioritize injecting absolute garbage, malicious data into your integration tests. Because these chaotic edge case scenarios, that is exactly where critical, funds-draining vulnerabilities are hiding in Web3. So the golden rule of security testing is this: verify the fallback path. When that oracle gives you a wildly out-of-range value, what does your code actually do? The test has to assert that the program safely rejects the operation, or that it cleanly sets a safe fallback state. And listen to me on this, do not just check that the program printed an error to the log output. Come on, you actually have to read the account state back and assert the exact error code or the exact byte layout of that fallback state. And finally, Section 5, Conclusion, wrapping up your strategy. To wrap up our strategy today so you're fully prepared to go out and write some incredibly resilient code, I want to leave you with this one rule. Treat an integration test as a bounded contract test. Prioritize, set up, execute, assert. If you keep your test fixture small, if you keep them totally separated, and most importantly, entirely deterministic, you are going to have an actionable, maintainable test suite that actually catches real bugs, instead of just randomly slowing down your CI pipeline. So here's my final question for you. Are you ready to actually translate this blueprint into runnable, CI-integrated code? Because that is the exact next step in this journey. If you want to dive much deeper into the subject, actually get your hands on the code, and explore our other Web3 learning programs, please head over to forge.college. Keep building, keep testing, and I will see you in the next explainer.